Max sat quietly at the girl's feet, her tail flicking once, then still. The courtroom air felt heavy, like the hush before a storm. On the witness stand sat 8-year-old Lily, legs dangling, eyes wide but dry. She hadn't spoken a word since the night she disappeared, not one. The bailiff had offered her a juice box. The lawyer had tried a soft tone. The judge even leaned forward with kind eyes. Nothing. Silence clung to Lily like a second skin. But she wasn't alone. Next to her, Max, scarred, graying, and proud, sat upright, her K9 vest replaced by a gentle harness labeled Therapy. She'd been retired early after a knife wound ended her service. No longer chasing down criminals, Max now helped children like Lily. Except this was different. Lily and Max didn't meet through some program. They met on the worst night of Lily's life. The man across the courtroom, seated calmly in a dark suit, kept his gaze fixed on Lily. He smiled, cold, rehearsed, the kind of smile that made Max's lip twitch ever so slightly. No one but Lily noticed. The prosecutor cleared his throat, reading the charges. Abduction, unlawful confinement, assault. The words echoed through the chamber like bullets. But still, Lily remained silent. Max's ear twitched. The judge was about to call a recess when Lily moved. Not much, just her hand, but deliberately. She placed her tiny fingers against her lips, then flicked them outward. A gesture. Max stood. Not suddenly, slowly, like a soldier rising to attention. And then the dog growled. It wasn't loud, but it cut through the courtroom like glass shattering on marble. The bailiff took a step forward. "Sit," the judge said sharply. Max didn't sit. She walked forward, eyes locked on the defendant. Her tail was low, ears flat. She moved like she remembered, like she knew. Lily rose from the stand, stepped down, and stood behind Max. The courtroom stilled. "Miss Lily," the judge began, gentle but firm, "do you know this man?" Lily nodded once, then again. Max barked. The man flinched, just slightly, but enough. The defense attorney stood, objecting to the unorthodox conduct. The judge raised a hand. "Let her speak," he said, "if she's ready." The room waited. And then, Lily whispered, 3 words. "He hurt Max." The entire room shifted. The man in the dark suit paled. The prosecutor leaned forward. "Can you tell us what happened?" Lily turned her head slowly toward the jury. "When he took me, Max followed. She got through the gate. She bit him. He stabbed her." Gasps. A juror dropped her pen. The judge leaned in. "How do you know this?" the prosecutor asked. "I saw," Lily said. "From the trunk. He didn't know I could see." She looked at Max and smiled for the first time. She never stopped following. The prosecutor glanced toward the judge. The judge nodded once. "We request a delay to submit new evidence," he said, eyes on the defense table. "There may be forensic links between the suspect and the dog." But the defense attorney's hands trembled. Suddenly, Max stepped forward again. Her nose pointed straight at the defendant's side pocket. The bailiff moved fast. "Sir, keep your hands where I can see them," the man protested, too quickly. "It's just my phone." But it wasn't. A folded knife. Traces of dried blood on the inner hinge. The courtroom erupted. The judge slammed the gavel. "Order. Bailiff, secure that weapon. Defense, your client is now in violation of his bail terms." Max returned to Lily's side and sat. The judge leaned forward, voice tight. "I'll remind this courtroom that this is not a show. We are here for justice. And it seems justice may have just barked." Laughter broke through the tension, nervous but real. The defendant was cuffed on the spot. As the officers pulled him toward the exit, Max let out one low growl. Lily knelt and hugged her dog. No words. But she didn't need them anymore. And Max. Max wagged her tail. As the courtroom slowly emptied, whispers trailed behind every step. Reporters scribbled in notepads. Jurors avoided eye contact with the man being dragged away in cuffs. But at the center of it all, Lily sat on the wooden bench beside Max, one hand resting gently on the dog's back, the other clenched tightly around something, a silver button. Detective Rayner noticed. He crouched beside her. "Lily, what's that in your hand?" She hesitated, then slowly opened her palm. The button gleamed under the fluorescent lights, old, worn, scratched. "That's his," she whispered. "It came off when Max bit him. I kept it. I didn't know why." The detective's eyes widened. "You held on to evidence?" Lily nodded. "In case no one believed me." Rayner looked at Max, then back at the girl. "You're a brave little warrior." But Lily's face didn't change. She just leaned in close and said something into Max's ear. The dog's ears perked. A soft knock interrupted the moment. It was the judge. He stepped down from the bench, robe swaying, and stood in front of them, a rare move for someone of his stature. "Miss Lily," he said kindly, "you did something very few adults could have done today. You stood tall, even without a voice. And Max," he looked at the dog, "she knew. She always knew." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small emblem, a bronze badge, dulled from years of use. "This belonged to my old partner," he said. "He was the first officer I ever knew who trusted a K-9 over most people. He would have liked Max." He gently handed the badge to Lily. "I think she's earned it." Lily looked at the badge, then back at Max. Her lips trembled, this time not from fear, but from something else. Something blooming. Hope. Later that evening, outside the courthouse, a soft drizzle began to fall. Lily walked hand in hand with her grandmother, who had waited all day in the gallery. Max trotted close, every step measured, her eyes scanning, always watching. At the edge of the courthouse steps, Lily paused. "Grandma," she said, her voice still quiet, but stronger now. "Can we keep her?" Her grandmother looked down, eyes glassy. "Honey, she already chose you." At that moment, Max looked up, wagged her tail, and pressed her head into Lily's side. Across the street, a black car idled. Inside sat a woman with dark-rimmed glasses and a sharp, professional look. She'd been watching everything, quietly. She reached for her phone and made a call. "I found her," she said into the receiver. "The girl, and the dog. I don't care what the file says. That girl just unsealed a closed case with a hand signal and a therapy dog. You want people who don't break under pressure? That's your team right there." A pause. "Yes, I'm serious. I want both of them." She hung up and stared through the rain-speckled windshield. Back on the sidewalk, Lily and Max walked toward home. They didn't know about the woman. Not yet. But Max paused suddenly and looked back, ears twitching, like she sensed something had just shifted in the air. Something big. And Lily? She didn't look back. She just held the old badge tighter in her small hand and whispered the same words she'd said in court. She never stopped following. Weeks passed. Lily started to speak more, softly at first, then with confidence. It wasn't overnight. But with Max curled up at her feet every night, she felt safe, whole. She returned to school. She even laughed again. But the bond between them? That never changed. It deepened. One afternoon, Lily and Max were walking through a quiet park trail when a man in uniform stepped in front of them. Dark jacket, crisp boots. The same woman from the courthouse stood behind him, arms crossed, watching. "Lily," the man said with a respectful nod. "Max." Lily froze. "Don't worry," the woman said, stepping forward. "We're not here to take her away. Quite the opposite." The man knelt down to Max's level. "We've read everything. We've seen the footage, the signals, the response, the instinct." He looked up at Lily. "We have a program. It's not about speaking. It's about listening, reading, reacting. You and Max already do that better than half our team. He reached into his coat and pulled out 2 small items. A fabric patch for Lily, blue and gold, embroidered with a rising sun over a shield. And a new tag for Max's collar. Partner. Lily took them, stunned. We're not asking you to leave home. We're not even asking you now, the woman said. Just know this. What you two did in that courtroom wasn't just brave. It was extraordinary. They nodded and walked away, leaving Lily and Max standing beneath the tall trees, wind brushing their hair and fur alike. Lily looked down at the patch, then at Max. She didn't say a word. She didn't have to. Max barked once, short and sharp, and in that sound there was a promise. Whatever came next, they were ready. Together. If you were moved by this story and want to hear more powerful, emotional, true life tales like Lily and Max's, make sure to subscribe to my channel. We share stories that inspire, that challenge, and that remind us. Heroes come in all sizes, and sometimes with 4 legs.